You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And on the strength of Mark Ronner's Ronner Report, the movie Smile 2 came in at number 1 this week with a very healthy $23 million domestically and another $23 million internationally for a worldwide take of $46 million. And if you're wondering, well, how good is that? Well, the budget for Smile 2 was only $28 million. So it's already made plenty money. Of course, we talk about how the genre, it doesn't take a lot of money to produce the movies. But still, when you're talking about multipliers over the life of its time in the theater, look, if it brought in $46 million its first week, it's going to do probably a multiplier of at least 3 or 4 times its budget.
I think we're getting a Smile 3, whether we want one or not. But this one was good.
I'll take your word for it. It's a very simple concept. You explained it. And it's probably not the best horror movie ever, but it's good enough, and people seem to like it.
Yeah, I think what I said Friday was that I'm not going to need the Criterion edition of it to keep in perpetuity, but it was an enjoyable watch. It was well worth the trip to the theater.
Number 2, The Wild Robot is still doing well in its 4th week. It brought in another $10 million domestically. It has a worldwide take of $197 million. I don't think anyone foresaw that The Wild Robot would be doing as well for as long as it has. It's in its 4th week. Number 3, Terrifier 3, another horror movie, brought in $9 million for a total of $41 million. And Terrifier 3's budget, let's look that up real quick. 3 budget, $2 million.
Yeah, it's kind of low rent. I'm really surprised that it's doing so well in mainstream theaters and didn't go straight to streaming or something like that, because having only seen the first one but read about the other 2, they're pretty nasty. I mean, and the gore in the first one is right up there.
There are very few investments where you could put in $2 million and get back 41. Very few.
Yeah. Horror films are always a good bet. When you and I get a couple $1 million ahead from our work here, we're making a horror film.
Oh, you damn right. Beetlejuice came in at number 4. It brought in, it came in at number 4. It brought in $5 million, and I don't think anyone foresaw how well that movie was going to do for such a sequel, which a long time in between its original movie and the sequel. It's now at $434 million. I don't think anyone, even connected to the project, thought that this would be close to $500 million.
Well, it seems to me like it's kind of comfort viewing, and that's a gauge of where we're at right now. People just need something that doesn't move the needle a whole bunch.
And it's pretty well balanced. I mean, $283 million domestically and another like $170 million internationally. It's a well-balanced movie in that regard. Number 5 is We Live in Time. It is not in wide release, but its per theater average was 2nd this week at $4,249 per screen. And it's made by A24, the same movie studio which did Civil War. Its total is $4 million. This was its debut week, and it only has like maybe 980 theaters in which it's in. Quote, an up-and-coming chef and a recent divorcee find their lives forever changed when a chance encounter brings them together in a decade-spanning, deeply moving romance. It's not a movie that appeals to me in any way. I'm not into the romance movies. I'm just not. But somebody likes it, and it seems like it's picking up steam because it was only in 980 theaters, and it'll probably expand over the next 2 weeks. Number 6 is, say it for me, Mark, Joker.
Oh, yeah, Folia Deuce.
Folia Deuce. Yeah. It's grossed $192 million worldwide. I think it needs to make $400 million to make back its budget plus marketing and promotion, even though the listed budget is $200 million. I have no idea why, but I'm surprised it's still in the top 10 given how poorly it was reviewed by both critics and audiences.
Not many people like it, but the few who do seem to think it's a work of genius, and I just cannot fathom that.
And here's a movie which is not well balanced. It's 56 million domestically, but 135 internationally. They're seeing something, they're appreciating something that U.S. audiences simply are not. Coming at number 7 was Piece by Piece. I have no idea what this movie is. This is second week. Piece by Piece. That's the Pharrell Williams movie about his life through the lens of Lego animation. And it has a total gross of $7 million. I have no idea what the budget is. And surprisingly, number 8, even though Tuwala hated it, is still Transformers 1 in its 5th week. It brought in $1.9 million this week for a total of $119 million. The animated features are doing pretty well, all things considered, even still. Saturday Night, which you reviewed, Mark, is number 9 this week, brought in $1.7 million.
Yeah, it had kind of a weird release schedule. It was out in like 2 places here, then it was everywhere a little while later. I don't know what their plan was with that, but it's worth seeing.
It's just, it seems scattershot as far as how it's being rolled out. It added only 27 theaters this week. It's not, I guess you could say it's wide release, but it's only 2,300 theaters. Think of it this way. For a big time movie, it's usually in 4,300 theaters or more.
I will bet you right now that Matthew Rhys gets some sort of nomination for his portrayal of George Carlin. He's terrific in it.
I still got to check that out. And believe it or not, The Nightmare Before Christmas, the 2024 re-release, brought in $1.2 million to come in at number 10, and total gross is $4.9 million just for the re-release. It's free money. It's not anything they had to do. I don't think they even advertised. They just put it out and got free $5 million.
Passive income for Tim Burton.
Absolutely. And that was out, let me see, 2 weeks. It's been out 2 weeks now with the re-release. Free money.
Next month, they're going to do a re-release of Godzilla -1 with 13 minutes of additional footage.
That'll get me back in theaters.
Yep.
Because it earned my time. I was riveted. I remember I was texting Mark, and Tuwala was like, "Oh my gosh, Mark, you were right. Well, you got to see this." It was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
Might have another guy trip in our future.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm down with that.
Yeah. It's later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We are live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, and you're the best around. The Karate Kid Legends movie, which is coming out next year. There is a portion of a trailer which was shown over the weekend at New York Comic-Con, and we're getting bits and pieces of that, and we're getting more insight as far as what the movie's about, who's in it, and who might be in it. That's next.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
We told you about the upcoming Karate Kid movie, which is going to be titled Karate Kid Legends. Well, there is some trailer footage which was screened at New York Comic-Con over the weekend. And we're getting bits and pieces about what the storyline is going to be about and some of the actors who will be involved in it. Of course, we know that Jackie Chan will be in it. We know that Ralph Macchio will be in it, and they will be working together as Sensei and Sifu, blending karate and kung fu in this movie. It's explicit. Both martial arts will be featured. And then we'll see the franchise newcomer, Ben Wang. You might know him from American Born Chinese. And he is going to, I guess, be the student of Chan. Is that correct, Mr. Han?
Yes, he is the student of Mr. Han. But from all reports, everyone who saw this trailer, when everyone in the crowd erupted, was when they saw Mr. Han, who this is said a few years later, after the events of Dre, and it is acknowledged in this film that it is a few years later, and Dre's winning the competition is acknowledged. But they said that in Han's studio prominently hangs a photo and lineage connected to Mr. Miyagi. And therein is when everyone was like, wait, what? Screaming. And we're kind of wondering, is this new character connected to Mr. Miyagi by way of, is this a long lost grandchild or something like that.
We thought that Miyagi lost a child along the way in the very first movie. But we know that there's other life that he lived having nothing to do with his wife. So it's possible that there was, in an Apollo Creed sort of way, there was another child out there.
Yes. And now everyone is wondering, who is Mr. Han to Mr. Miyagi, that you would have his photo displayed in your dojang so prominently as if he is from whence your style comes, something to that level. It's a lot of mystery that was brought up in this. I'm like, wait a minute. If they're using that to be the thing, because we already know in the last season of Cobra Kai, Daniel is finding more and more and more about Mr. Miyagi's life before he met him.
Right.
And a life that we never knew existed. So is there a connection between either Han and Miyagi or, from this new character, Ben Wong and Mr. Miyagi? I don't know, man.
There's still not a release date for the movie, but we know that there's season 6, Cobra Kai part 2, season 6, which is going to be released in November, and part 3, which is slated for 2025. They haven't told us specifically. So we still have 2 more portions of the final season of Cobra Kai to get through, which will probably give us more insight as far as where the story is headed. Because from what I understand, the movie is going to dovetail off of what we've seen in Cobra Kai.
Yes. Directly. It is explicitly connected. The story that we've been seeing, from my understanding, from my folks that were at New York Comic-Con who know how much we love Karate Kid, they were like, several people were hitting me like, Tuala, you two should have been in New York for this presentation, because the cast came out, they showed the trailer, they showed footage, and from what we're seeing, everything y'all have been hyping up about Cobra Kai, it all comes together in this Karate Kid Legends film, and it is legendary. They said that's all I will tell you is that the footage we see, it makes this legendary, which to me means we're going to get some real solid, hardcore connectivity from some characters we may not have seen yet.
See, we need to get William Zabka back on this show. He came on years ago when the Will Smith, Jaden Smith Karate Kid came out years ago. We talked about that. I know he listens to KFI. William Zabka, just come on back with us so we can talk about this and get more insight about the final season of Cobra Kai as well as Karate Kid Legends. I personally can't wait because this is a time in which they understand what true Karate Kid fans want, and they're giving the fans what they want. If they've learned anything from the success of the MCU and universe building, it's having the different generations and different characters together in the same story. Don't keep them all separate. And before, you had the separate Hilary Swank portion of the universe, and you had the separate Jackie Chan portion of the universe, the original Karate Kid trilogy. Now they're telling you all of it is coming together. All of it. And the only thing we haven't seen a direct indication of is Hilary Swank. And we may get that before the end of Cobra Kai.
We may, man.
I am really hoping for that. But, you were telling me during the break, Twala, that there's going to be an added emphasis. And that doesn't surprise me because we're talking about Jackie Chan. An added emphasis on upping the quality of the martial arts choreography.
Yes. All of the trailer footage indicates that Ralph Macchio's karate is stepped up, and some people joke whether they're speeding up the camera or whatever.
Maybe.
But, I would think when you have someone like Jackie Chan, who is world renowned for not just his martial arts, but for his action and his stunts, I don't think that he's going to dumb down his martial arts capability to lift up anyone. I think he's going to say, this is what we're going to do, and we're all going to get on the same page here. We're all doing some real stuff. So I think that it's only right that Ralph Macchio steps up his training, his exercising and his choreography to make it look like it's real. Cause this one isn't in America where you're going to the All Valley. Okay.
And we always gave Karate Kid a pass for its choreography. We've always given it a pass. If you've ever studied any martial arts, you know that, okay, that Karate Kid choreography left a lot to be desired. It wasn't like Daredevil. It wasn't like any Jackie Chan movie. It was campy to a certain degree. It was corny even and unrealistic. If they can bring in the Jackie Chan, when I say martial arts choreography, the realism or the sophistication of that type of choreography, it would reach new levels and heights of fan appreciation.
Well, the fight choreography that we saw in the Karate Kid reboot with Jaden Smith was light years ahead of where we were introduced to karate through Karate Kid. So that was basic form karate that we saw in Karate Kid. In Karate Kid, Jaden Smith, it was Kung Fu. And so if you're blending those two worlds together, you can't have the Kung Fu that Mr. Han is bringing to the table just wrecking shop all over Daniel-san's karate. You can't do that. So Daniel's going to have to step it up. It's going to have to look real. We'll see, though.
That's the best part. We will see.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Well, it's Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. There's a show which is getting ready to come back with its second season called The Last of Us, which is on Max. And it details the story of how civilization falls because of not a viral infection, but a fungus infection. And it's based on some credible science. And if you watch The Last of Us, in the very first episode, it sets the stage for this cordyceps infection, which takes over humans and takes control of their bodies. But there's science in the natural kingdom to support it. But I want to play this clip from The Last of Us, which kind of sets up the possibility of it happening in the real world.
Dr. Newman, you're also an epidemiologist. I presume the prospect of a viral pandemic keeps you up at night as well?
No.
No?
No.
All right, well, that's our show.
No, mankind has been at war with the virus from the start. Sometimes millions of people die, as in an actual war, but in the end, we always win.
But you, just to be clear, you do think microorganisms pose a threat?
Oh, in the most dire terms.
Bacteria?
No.
You like saying no?
Yes.
Not bacteria, not viruses, so...
Fungus. Yes, that's the usual response. Fungi seem harmless enough. Many species know otherwise, because there are some fungi who seek not to kill, but to control. Let me ask you, where do we get LSD from?
Where do you get it from?
It comes from ergot, a fungus. Psilocybin, also a fungus. Viruses can make us ill, but fungi can alter our very minds. There's a fungus that infects insects, gets inside an ant, for example, travels through its circulatory system to the ant's brain, and then floods it with hallucinogens, thus bending the ant's mind.
That is real. That is from the real world. That is talking about real things which do happen.
To its will. The fungus starts to direct the ant's behavior, telling it where to go, what to do, like a puppeteer with a marionette. And it gets worse. The fungus needs food to live, so it begins to devour its host from within.
That is also scientifically accurate. This is from a TV show, but scientifically accurate.
Placing the ant's flesh with its own, but it doesn't let its victim die. No, it keeps its puppet alive by preventing decomposition. How? Where do we get penicillin from?
Fungus. Dr. Schoenheis, you're in distress.
Fungal infection of this kind is real, but not in humans.
That is also accurate. But here is the sticking point.
True, fungi cannot survive if its host's internal temperature is over 94 degrees. And currently there are no reasons for fungi to evolve to be able to withstand higher temperatures. But what if that were to change? What if, for instance, the world were to get slightly warmer? Well, now, there is reason to evolve. One gene mutates, and an Ascomycetia, Candida, ergot, Cordyceps, Aspergillus, any one of...
Cordyceps,
Aspergillus, any one of them could become capable of burrowing into our brains and taking control, not of millions of us, but billions of us. Billions of puppets with poisoned minds, permanently fixed on one unifying goal: to spread the infection to every last human alive by any means necessary. And there are no treatments for this, no preventatives, no cures. They don't exist. It's not even possible to make them.
So if that happens,
we lose.
that is from a TV show, but the science contained therein is accurate. That's the scary part. But more and more scientists are debating the possibility of whether Cordyceps unilateralis could make the jump from insects to humans. Now, there's already evidence that it infects and kills ants and can diminish the local ant population. But the question is if and when they would evolve to the point of being able to survive and also infect humans.
It has already jumped from ants to bees and wasps and cicadas and various insects that would normally just be able to shake something like this off, and it is destroying entire hives and eradicating something, especially bees, things that we need to keep this planet going.
No, you can kill the bees.
Look, Mo, we need the bees. Damn it, we need the bees, man.
Let the fungus kill all the bees.
If it gets the bees, it gets us, Mo. Just know that. When the fungus gets the bees, it's going to get us.
Can it just get Mark?
It's not just going to get Mark. It's going to get all of us, because the bees are what's fertilizing what we eat. We do not know. I originally, and this is well documented in I don't know how many thousands of podcasts that we have posted now, all the way back to the Mo Kelly Show. I originally thought that the zombie apocalypse was going to come about by way of us eating. We eat. And I thought because of the drugs and different things that they're putting in the meats that we're eating and taking into our bodies, that we were going to somehow catch a hold of a virus that mixes with some drug or something that we're taking and causes us to want to spread this virus that just erodes the brain. But same as we saw in Last of Us, and this was spread by way of yeast or food product. We never knew what the food was.
We thought it was the food supply. But just simply something like fungus, and we know this planet is getting hotter. As hot as it is right now in October, this is record highs that we're seeing right now. This is why I think this is even more possible. Well, the question is, where are we in that evolutionary process? We know the planet is getting hotter. We just don't know where organisms on this planet are in their own individual and collective evolutionary process. Has it begun for different strains of fungus? Don't know. Couldn't hazard a guess. But, something horrible will happen to us eventually.
Oh, it's coming.
If not the climate change, then maybe the fungus among us.
I think the key takeaway here, Mo, is that your fate is tied to the fate of bees.
No.
Much. No. Mark, you hit that out the park.
No, that's okay. No, trust me. I'll be long gone before any of this happens.
We don't know that. We think that as hot as it is this year, it will be even hotter 5 years from now. You'll be here in 5 years.
Yeah, but it'll be earthquakes or hurricanes. It won't be the fungus.
That may be what causes it. Maybe a massive earthquake where it releases some fungus into the air, which gets in our lungs and starts reproducing within the heat in our lungs that we're breathing in this hot ass air. And there we go.
Well, maybe it will feel like we're dying of LSD. I don't know. There's certain things I just can't lose sleep over. There's enough to worry about and concern ourselves with on a day-to-day basis. Is someone going to shoot me on the freeway? Is it going to be an earthquake? Is it going to be a mass shooting at a mall? I'm not going to worry about the fungus. I just can't. I don't have the bandwidth.
Look, this goes to something Mark says all the time with this mass psychosis that we as a society are in. How do we know that the fungus is not already taking over our minds, which is leading to some of this mass psychosis that we're dealing with?
There's a MAGA joke in there, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
No.
Okay, I didn't know if you were trying to get political or not.
I'm not. I'm talking about how just as a society, we are off the deep end right now.
Oh, no, we are. We are. I think it's self-induced. I don't know if I doubt it's an external. I think that look, I've said many times, this is the dumbest nation on the face of the earth. And I say that with love and affection, if only because I don't want it to be. But I think it is fair enough to see the signs of this. Our willingness to accept and embrace ignorance. What do you mean you're a college graduate? What do you mean you're an expert? What you think you're an elitist? Oh, excuse me. Because I strive higher than mediocrity. That's why I think it's like.
It could be that your brain is just more resistant to the fungus.
Oh, so the force only works on the weak-minded.
Yes, right now.
All
Yes, the very weak-minded.
All right. Mark, this is not the news break that you're looking for.
Keep trying.
Did you see?
No, you're doing okay.
Okay, I'm waving the hand. It's no effect?
The more you do it, maybe the better you'll get at it.
Okay. Maybe I'll get hair on my hands when I try to.
Or fungus growing out of your eyes and ears and mouth, like on that show.
Look at the time.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And before we get out of here, be sure to make sure you've locked in the podcast. It does not matter where you find your favorite podcast. Later with Mo Kelly is there. Be it YouTube, be it Spotify, Podcast Addict, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, of course, the iHeartRadio app, wherever your favorite podcasts are. Later with Mo Kelly also is. All my funniest moments are in there. We try to edit out Mark as much as possible.
So it's really short, right? Robin, you got to learn the rim shot.
No. She's shaking her head no. That's a no. She blocked you at the rim. Block shot.
Almost nothing to the show is what you're saying. It just shoots right by.
Look, Robin's on my side. I pay her well to be on my side.
Oh, I'm sure. Out of that massive Sultan-like paycheck of yours. Yeah, of course.
I wish. Hey, Mark, you didn't tell me what you did this weekend.
I rested. Are you kidding me? I actually wasn't even sure if I was invited to the wedding that you guys went to. I just rested. I read. I worked on a screenplay that I've been hard at work on. That guarantees me a ticket to the big time, but I can't really tell you anything about it on the air.
What software do you use for your screenwriting? Do you use Final Draft or some other?
I did use Final Draft, but it's crap. And so right now I'm just freehanding it. And then when I get to my final pass, John August has a free, I think, screenwriting app that I've used before and thought it was perfectly good. Mm-hmm. But yeah, people really get suckered into paying a lot for Final Draft, which
I was one. Yes,
it basically indents for you and remembers names. Okay,
it does. But I guess the appeal when I was doing more screenwriting work in the early 2000s was the formatting. It just made it easier because outside of using Microsoft Word or something, there really wasn't anything else which addressed all the different the fonting. The subtext, supertext, pagination, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if you want some really entertaining rants about how crappy Final Draft is, listen to the Script Notes podcast. Craig Mazin, who is actually the showrunner on The Last of Us that you were just talking about, he just tears into these guys, and it's very satisfying.
Well, I know that you're going to hit it big, and when it happens, I want to take full credit for all your success.
Oh, I wouldn't be here without you.
Robin, did you get that? Twala, make sure you got that in the podcast,
record that.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I owe it all to you, all of it.
Because I'm going to use that later on when I sue him. It's like he took my idea. He says right here, he owes it all to me. I insert this into evidence.
Well, there is a very unflattering villain character who I should probably change his name to something like Schmo O Smelly or something like that. I don't want to be sued. Is the point?
Oh, I'm going to sue you regardless. It doesn't matter. I'm just telling you that right now.
Really an unsympathetic character.
Kind of like Dr. Evil or something?
Oh, no, not cute like Dr. Evil. No fun at all. Really a loathsome character. And I think audiences are really going to despise this character.
What are you going to call him? Elmo Nusk?
Oh, no, that's a whole separate thing. Actually, well, I can't tell you anything. But when the movie comes out and we're at the red carpet and you're waving at me from the sidelines, I'll shout and answer at you. It'll be fun.
Yes.
Well, don't you?
$1 million.
Just give me that line, okay? $1 million.
Million. You have to say it like it's with
$1 million.
ease. Yes.
Like milieu.
Milieu.
$1 million.
Well, don't you think we should maybe ask for more than $1 million? $1 million isn't exactly a lot of money these days. Virtucon alone makes over $9 billion a year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. Okay, then. We hold the world ransom for $100 billion.
Okay, all I ask is you write me into the script as some really famous, successful radio host, and I have like the montage during the end of the world where I'm narrating what is happening when the aliens are coming or something like that.
It's not a fantasy, Mo.
It's really going to happen. No,
let's just stay grounded here, please. The thing is that $1 million would pretty much just get you a down payment on a modest-sized house in LA at this point.
It's true.
$1 million.
It's later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the
$1 million
iHeartRadio app.
Not just stimulating talk, it's more. KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.